What's good, Shellitronnn here. You can call me Shells, and I'm back at again with a brand new video, and I'm gonna keep it a Bowberry biscuit. I know most of you have already heard this news before, but for those of y'all who haven't, and I guess for those of y'all who just want to know my opinion on this matter, let me show you this tweet right here from NFL Update saying, Panthers have signed former Saints wide receiver Tommylee Lewis and former Chargers tight end Andrew Vollert. Now, the time of this recording right now, Andrew Vollert has been cut by the Panthers. If y'all watched Hard Knocks, y'all know what his reaction was. I can't say the words that he used when he got cut first, but I'm assuming he didn't use that kind of language when the Panthers cut him. He got kind of used to the feeling by that point. It is what it is, but we have signed Tommylee Lewis, a receiver who's been in the NFL for 3 years, from 2016 to 2018. He played with the Saints, and if you'll remember, 2018 was the year that both Joe Brady and Teddy Bridgewater were both on the Saints, so there's a little bit, some slight recognizability. They know each other some kind of way, but in 2019, he got cut. He went to the Lions. The Lions cut him, and he played for the Renegades, I think, in the XFL. Now, check it out. I'm not going to lie to you. I did not look up how this man did in the XFL because I have no business trying to determine how a player is going to play in the NFL by using their XFL stats, unless you were literally the best player in the XFL, kind of like PJ Walker. I honestly just don't care about what you did in the XFL when talking about the NFL. But like I mentioned, Tommylee Lewis has had time in the NFL, so it's disrespectful to him to try to use his XFL stats, even though in his time in the NFL, he hasn't been anything close to a, let's call it, impact player. He's a good role player. The way I see it, he's a good role player who is actually pretty useful in the kick return and punt return game, which is where we might see him used the most because the team already has a lot of really good weapons on the outside. But going over his receiving stats first, he spent the first 3 years, like I mentioned, being just a guy. 11 targets his first year, 14 targets his second year, and only 3 targets in 3 games in 2018. So we understand what's going on, but he is a guy who can potentially come in and make some moves in empty sets where there's 5 wide, where the defense has to make decisions about who you're going to cover. DJ Moore, Curtis Samuel, Robbie Anderson, Christian McCaffrey in the slot. Are you going to look at Ian Thomas? Who are you going to focus on? And if you're focusing on them, who's the person looking at Tommylee Lewis? That kind of plan can work out really well for him because he's only 5'7", and I don't know how much he weighs, but my guess is probably less than 210. Put a gun to my head, I'd probably say less than 200 pounds. So he's not a Steve Smith kind of guy, but he is a dude who can make some plays here and there situationally if you need something to happen, I guess. He's not a trash player who will not do anything for you. And like I mentioned, he is pretty solid in kick return and punt returns. And that was a huge problem for this team last year. And I think even 2 years ago to a certain extent. It's just that with the O-line being bad, with the run D being bad, with the secondary being bad, and basically the whole identity of the Carolina Panthers either being cut, retiring, or just leaving, we kind of forget about how big of a problem the return game has been and how much we need any kind of impact, any kind of production, whether the defense gets stops or the defense gets scored on, one way or another, someone's going to be kicking the ball to us. So someone's got to be back there to bring the ball forward and hopefully put us in plus territory when they do. And I think that Tommylee Lewis can be someone who can maybe bring that to the table. Now, we do have Pharoh Cooper, who's kind of a specialist, if you can call it that, in that regard. But I do like that Tommylee Lewis does have some experience in the league. He did spend 3 years with the Saints, and he does have some sort of rapport, some sort of, chemistry with Joe Brady and Teddy Bridgewater, and that is invaluable. I just wonder, how exactly will he fit on this team? And would the front office weigh that chemistry he has with the offensive coordinator and our quarterback higher than the kind of things we've seen out of Omar Bayless and even Brandon Zylstra? There was a time when I thought Brandon Zylstra was just a throwaway, no-name guy with no shot at making the squad. I've seen some very good things out of him so far in training camp. I think he had 1 or 2 alright catches in last year's preseason, but I didn't believe that much in him when I saw him at training camp when I went. But I actually do think that Omar Bayless has a legitimate shot. Zylstra, and to a certain degree, also does. There's just so many talented outside guys, skill position guys, and when you think about it, we also have at least 2 tight ends. We might carry 3 tight ends, and you can't have 7 receivers, 3 tight ends, and a fullback in Alex Arma. It just cannot happen because you're going to want to have some kind of depth at O-line or D-line. What's our linebacker core going to look like? You cannot carry 7 receivers. I'd be surprised if we carry 6. And if we do have 6, that 6th guy is going to need to be someone who can return punts and kicks. So he has an in right there. He's got to be the best guy returning punts and kicks in practice because I think that's the best shot he has at making this team because Omar Bayless looks like he is ready to play. And he's kind of big too, so it is what it is there. Other than that, man, that's all I got for you on Tommylee Lewis. I like Tommylee Lewis, but this is just one of those years where we finally have too much talent at the wide receiver spot. And I say anytime between 2 and 5 years ago, he'd be a shoo-in to make this team. But right now, it's looking kind of tough. That's all I got for you. Those are my thoughts on it. What are your thoughts on Tommylee Lewis? Let me know everything you're thinking in the comments below. And you already know what to do with that like button.
Cheers to you, appreciate the chance. Been told y'all I been the man. Been told y'all I had the gift. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Real ones gonna recommend. Count this as another win.